still same day, yeah?
I think we're on it. Sorry, good evening everybody. Anybody who's waiting, just having a little technical glitch. Freddie, I'm going to pass this to you. For you to find it on my phone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, on the assumption that we are live.
Yes, we're live. It's live on my phone.
Good evening and welcome to Renske's 20th birthday celebration. Here's the beautiful lady herself, the day after she turned 20. And she looks as young as a 2-year-old. But you did naughty things as a 2-year-old, didn't you, Ren? Yeah. So Renske, born in 2005, at the age of just 2.5, she got in with her half-brother, who was a year younger than her.
Naughty girl.
And they had naughty interactions, didn't they? And she's loved boys, and she's loved that natural way of interacting with the boys ever since. Haven't you, sweetheart? So, at the age of 2.5, she got herself preggers. Didn't you, darling?
You want?
And she's wanted the boys ever since. And despite trying to get her in foal numerous times over the years, I think it was never ever going to work for her after that first interaction. Did you want a coffee, darling? She knows that Freya's got the bowl of treats down there. That's what it is. Isn't it, sweetheart? She's going to keep nudging Frey until Frey gives her one or two. Do you want to pass me a couple? Have you got me on there?
Yes, we have 26 people.
Wonderful. Welcome, everybody. Let's have a look. I'm going to put my glasses on.
Right. Treat lady
Let's
is
see
in
who we've got
charge.
here. Good evening. Hi, Panilla. Hi, Kim. Lindsay and Bessie, of course. Hello, Tara. Oh, we've even got a Jane Holden. Wonderful. Extra Sale, Leslie, Nancy, Jamie, Monique. How lovely. It's really good of you to join us. Renske, as you can see, is only interested in the bowl of food that's on the floor. That's okay, don't mind me. So what I'm going to do, just to keep Ren happy, because we like to keep Ren happy these days, I'm going to hand feed her. And what she has in here, no, you have to be polite, you have to be polite, is she's not only got apples, carrots and nuts, she's also got blueberries. Courtesy of Diane. You know what, I'm not going to hand feed you. Ren.
Hi, Diane.
Yeah, we're just going to let her munch them, because clearly she's starving. Even though she's got that beautiful J-Lo bottom, and she's never been skinny in her life, she's curvaceous, aren't you, Ren? She wants to tuck into more food, because it's her birthday and she's allowed to. So, while she's munching, and don't forget, you can ask questions. Huh? Were you going to say something?
No.
Okay. I have, sorry, we've obviously got as well. I'm setting everything up. And we've also got Lisa and Vince, who have you in a video on YouTube yet?
We did a little, I think that was behind the scenes. So
I'm
not sure. Excuse me.
There is a longer video. There's quite a few videos that are here after this evening. One of which is things that were happening on the yard over the last couple of days that it got too late for me last night to edit. So that's going to be appearing probably the early hours of the morning. But you'll see Lisa's return, Vince in a big bucket, big barrel of water, Lisa being fire starter, but all will be revealed if you watch the video. Who else have we got? Hi Donna, hi Inika and Nemo, of course. Good evening, Diane. Good evening, Sweet Pea Jack. Apologies to anybody who's on here who I haven't said hello to, and obviously, sorry Ren, everyone who doesn't make comments and just likes to watch. Oh, we a bit choppy, Diane? Sorry. I'd like to say that this is on GoPro as well, so that we can post it again. But sadly it's not, because I forgot to put the memory stick back in. Anyway, let's tell you a little bit more about Ren before we get on to the raffle and find out who's won that very beautiful neck scarf that Wendy made before she went into hospital to have her heart op. And Wendy, if you're joining us, I hope you're doing well. Do let us know how your recovery is going. So anyway, going back to this young lady. So, as I said, I'm at the age of 2.5, and I remember seeing the Netherlands when he had this little film. And I have to say, he was absolutely gorgeous. He was really lovely, and I have no idea to this day where he ended up going. But hopefully, wherever he is, he's leading a good life. So I think that was in the October of 2000. Look, I've got dates down here. I've set myself dates. When was that? I don't know. It was the October the following year. So it was a very late foal. So her breeder didn't pop her back in foal that year. The following January, he put her in foal to the stallion Bente. And the reason that we found her in the first place was because our original mare, Femma, who later became the first model mare in this country, was her half-sister. So Femma was by a stallion Turnus, and Renske was by a stallion called Sarpe. So any of you know that Sarpe was an absolutely beautiful horse, and I think he ended up going over to the States. He lived really good to a really good age. Her mother was a very beautiful mare who I was lucky enough to meet before she passed away, a mare called Balkia van Ikkerwald, and she was what's known as a preferent. She was a star preferent prestige mare or prestati mare, because to get that title they have to have at least 4 of their offspring who gain the star status or above. And Renske was one of, I think, 6 offspring that gained the star status. So she says, Freya, you don't have anything else. Surely you have, honestly. So one of her sisters got the sports title, obviously Femma got the model title, and Renske twice over the years got awarded with what's called a second Premier Star. She's convinced that Freya's got more food. Lisa's got a cup of tea down there if you want that.
Sorry.
No? Go on, plead to everyone on the screen and see if they've got something. Maybe they'll send you more treats.
Hi Sharon, hi John.
Oh, John, you've managed to catch a live. Well done. Hi, Sharon. So, where was I? Yes. So that was her bloodline. So, you know, she was graded as second Premier, as I say, on 2 occasions. One in the Netherlands and one over here. When we brought her over, we owned her in partnership with her breeder, and the idea at the time, because this was in the early days of doing what we do, the idea was that she'd come over to this country in foal, and she was in foal to Bente, and that she'd have that foal and we would sell them both on behalf of the breeder. It's funny how things never actually work out the way they're supposed to. So she came over in foal, very lightly backed, and I remember riding her over in the Netherlands as a very green 4-year-old, and she was really, really forward. You know, I wasn't a good enough rider at the time to be able to properly sort of manage her paces, but she's got fantastic movement. She's really expressive, really athletic, which is the reason why she got the second Premier Star. So anyway, she came over, she was in foal, and the following year she had a very, very beautiful little colt foal. At the time we harness, but he's not to be used for the harness that we have here now. It's just ironic we ended up with a harness. Now, we weren't in a position to buy the foal from the breeder, so sadly at that time we did sell him, because in the early days that was the idea. We were following the traditional equestrian route. We were going to breed some, sell them on, maybe bring some over, bring them on. But as we all know, that's not a path that I followed for very long, because I didn't really enjoy it. The lovely thing is that her baby boy that she had, Hannes, did end up going and living in Derbyshire with the most wonderful family, and he has more than a 5-star home, and he's really, really well cared for. And I remember they actually came up to the area, I can't remember how many years ago, and they brought him up, and they rode up to the farm to come and see us, and it was amazing how similar he was in looks to Renske. He had a much longer mane, but he had a very similar, slightly dipped back, because that is one of her conformation weaknesses. She's not got the straightest, strongest back. So anyway, she had him. I don't know if you can still hear me when she's on that side. Can I cuddle you from this side, darling? Yeah? Cuddle and scratch you from this side. So she had him, and the following January, February, we tried to get her in foal again. And because she's got a very low kinship percentage, I think it's 16.6% kinship percentage, which is her relationship to the rest of the Frisian population, and I think she's 1.17% inbreeding, that makes her a desirable mare to breed from. So we tried to put her to the stallion Yout, because he was a very low kinship percentage. We could only get frozen semen at the time, and unfortunately it wasn't very good quality frozen semen. And I think we inseminated her maybe 3 times and she never took. But we were also trying to get her sister Femma in foal at the same time with the same stallion, and she did actually take, and from that breeding came Yolanda. So Yolanda is by Yout. So Renske and Yolanda, without getting too technical, because I know some of you aren't necessarily interested or won't follow it, they are both the lowest kinship percentage of all our Frisians that are here. Now, interestingly, the idea is that the lower the inbreeding and kinship percentage, the less risk of hereditary defects. And Renske, that brings me on to really the fact that Renske has been, and I'm going to touch on wood, well, she's 20 years old. She's been probably the healthiest Frisian that we've had here on the farm. And it's why over the years I've said she's absolutely worth her weight in gold. And I would clone her if I could. I believe I could, but it costs an awful lot of money. This is Renske being demanding, saying she wants more treats. So I'll give her some scratches instead and see if that will do. But anyway, I won't harp on that anymore really, because I think over the years we tried 3 times to get her in foal, and it was never really happening. And you know, Frisians aren't always the easiest to breed with, and one of the issues with Renske was that she clearly didn't tolerate the extender, which is either a milk or egg-based product that's put in with the semen to transport it and to keep it as fresh as possible for as long as possible. And every time she was inseminated, she'd get a uterine infection, and so then when the embryo travelled down, it just died. So she never had a baby, but she was the best auntie, the absolute best auntie. And every foal that Femma had, so we've obviously got Nika, we had Ishka, Vela originally, but Ren wasn't here when Vela was born. Yolanda and Zhao, Ren would always be out there, and if Femma wasn't there to protect them from whoever was trying to bully them, then Ren was always the first there. And I remember her and Yolanda were absolutely joined at the hip. And when Femma had Zhaokia, Femma had a uterine prolapse, and so took a long time to recover. So when she went out with Zhao into the field and they were all running around, Femma couldn't always keep up with Zhao to protect her. So Auntie Ren always stepped in, didn't you? And it is really sad, because I know she would have loved another baby. But it's not going to happen, is it, darling? No. And we can't do any natural breeding. And you're 20 now, you're too old, a bit like me. Right. So she had Hannes. I'm going to lose track of years. I think when she was 7 years old. Right, let me think. She was 5 when she had Hannes, and then by the time I started working with her, I sort of had to reback her really, because obviously she'd lost a lot of fitness through being in foal, and I always found her incredibly forward, and as I said earlier, so much movement and so expressive. And it took me a long time. Well, it took me a long time to learn to ride the Friesians anyway. And I think this is has been one of the issues with the breed, is that they're bred for all this really fabulous expressive movement. And without digressing too much, I should say that what you saw at the Stallion show, a lot of that is natural. The Friesians do move like that naturally. But for the majority of people who are going out and buying Friesian, the majority of people really struggle to ride that movement, and I know I did for a long time, and I had to learn to ride properly, and Renske has been part of that journey and has helped me improve my own riding and my own ability to actually help a Friesian control that expressive movement. So I did some work with her, and then in my ultimate wisdom, I decided, because I was very much part of the Friesian Association and wanted to encourage lots of people to have their horses graded, at the annual inspections that we organised the one year, I can't remember when it was, I think it was 2013, we had the very first performance tests in this country. Now, alien for over here, because everybody's heard of dressage tests, where you go out and you do a test, and you're marked for how accurate the test is, how well the horse performs the different movements. And the idea of the EBOP test is for the inspectors from the stud book to have a look at the horse's natural movement and assess their potential as a sports horse, how they move naturally. So it's not about accuracy. Now, I wasn't going to put Renske in for the EBOP because I knew that I'd been able to do very little training with her. I didn't have all of her transitions controlled, and certainly her canter was quite exuberant. Certainly the transitions. And had I been a better rider, I would have done a better job of it. But anyway, I was convinced when we went to the inspections that she needed to go through the EBOP because she had all this potential, and it was only right that that got recorded by the stud book to show the quality of the offspring that were coming from that bloodline. Because I never look at gradings as a competition. I always look at them. Oh, there goes my phone. Thanks, Frey. Is that okay? Yeah.
I always look at them as it's just a way of the stud book collecting data on the qualities of each of the different bloodlines, and then that helps breeders in the future to decide which stallion to put to which mare. So anyway, I was going to say long story short, but I can't do that, can I?
Well, we've just done a convert of horse years to human.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Go on, what is that?
So 20 years is 60, equivalent to hours.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Wow.
At 1 year old, they're 6.5.
Gosh. Hey, Ren, you're older than me.
And me. Hey.
You're older than me, darling, but you look younger and you're fitter. Yeah. Anyway, so we did the EBOT test, and it was something, this will stay with me for the rest of my days, and it just reinforced, it's one of the reasons, it's one of the key facts in my life that reinforces why I don't like certain elements of the equestrian world and some of the people that get involved in it, because they do so for all the wrong reasons. There's competitiveness and jealousy, and without going into too many details, Renske did her performance test, her EBOP, and she scored what is the desirable number of 77 points. And I don't know why, but this little group of people chose to kick up a huge fuss about it and put in complaints to the stud book and absolutely slated me on social media and Renske, saying that we shouldn't have got those points and it was all fixed. What difference does it make? You know, I wasn't trying to sell her. I was just putting her forward to see how well she compared to what the breed standard was. So this small group of people over in the UK, who one of which breeds, and I believe still breeds, I don't have anything to do with it, instigated all this hate campaign against me at the time. And I ended up responding to the FPS, and I had visited all the tests that I'd done that day. So I sent Renskes in, and weirdly, well not weirdly, and I don't care about it, another set of judges reviewed the video and dropped her from 77 points to 76.5.
Well.
You know, what? It's just madness. You know, it's irrelevant. It makes no difference to me. But as I say, for me, that just reiterated the fact that I don't want to be part of that kind of community. I was saying to Freya earlier that actually one of the, I was going to say ladies, but I wouldn't call her a lady, one of the people who actually instigated these awful things that they said on social media at the time, actually came along and visited several years later. I think she maybe didn't realise what she'd done at the time, or perhaps she thought that I'd forgotten about it and it didn't affect me, but it was awful, it was horrible, wasn't it, Ren? So I never did another EBOT test with her because, you know, I didn't need to. I didn't want to get her graded again because a second Premier Star is absolutely right for her. You know, she's got the movement, but she doesn't necessarily, and this may sound quite wrong to some of you, she doesn't have the stature or the overall look of a first Premier Star mare. But I wouldn't change it for the world. Absolutely wouldn't change it for the world. She says she wants more food. Anyway, that's probably boring you all about the technical side of things. More importantly, who is she as a person? She's wonderful. She's played such a huge role in what we do here over the years. And when I first set up the experience days, which were aimed at trying to help people understand more about Friesians, learn about the different types that there are, you know, understand how the grading process works, and certainly for people who were thinking of buying a Friesian, to let them know the difference between so many different horses. You know, one Friesian, I've never had two Friesians that are exactly the same or even that similar. You know, they're all very different. Temperament-wise, you couldn't fault her. You know, she's kind, she's gentle, she's not the boss in the herd, and she's not bottom of the pecking order. She just likes to look after everybody, apart from one resident on the farm that she really doesn't like to look after, and she's really quite mean to, much like all the girls. Go on, who is it?
Jabbers?
Yeah.
And Prince, actually.
Oh, actually, yeah, and Prince. So she doesn't like ponies. So they're the only boys that she doesn't like. Hey, Ren. Yeah? They're the only boys that you don't like. Yeah. But she's really kind and lovely to everybody else. And she's really kind and lovely with people. So although she's headbutting Frey here, it's quite gentle, isn't it?
Like Prince.
Yeah, it
Just
is.
gentle.
And it's probably more gentle than JB's, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So going back, she got involved in the experience days, and you know, I used to have quite a few people coming along and riding, and I'll never forget one of the first people who took her out. We went down one of the local bridleways, and it was awful. It was quite overgrown at the time, and it was quite a narrow bridleway. And I was generally quite relaxed with people, and I'd say, yeah, you know, do whatever you feel comfortable with. Yeah, if you want to go for a little canter, go for a little canter. Well, big mistake with this lady. And Renske decided she wanted to go along this track quite quickly. Now, she has obviously become known as the speed queen over the years because she does like a good gallop. And as time went on, she got safer and safer. But in the early days, she didn't always know when to stop, and you had to be quite experienced to be able to just rein her in a little bit. Wouldn't it, Ren? So anyway, this poor lady went at a pace ahead of me down this very narrow track that was quite overgrown, and unfortunately a low-hanging branch did they parted company. I was absolutely traumatised. Fortunately, the lady was fine, and Renske was fine. She didn't go far, she just sort of stopped and was like, oh, where's she gone? But I don't think anybody else ever fell off her. Can you think of anyone?
I don't know. I don't remember which people came off which one.
No, you were too young at the time.
Yeah.
But no, so that memory stuck with me, and then the other one that stuck with me was a lady called Jill Poole. God, have I been talking that long? Sorry.
No, I only put it on for 5 minutes, Tracy.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, no.
You're fibbing. A lady called Jill Poole, wonderful lady, and she completely restored my faith in what I was doing and the fact that, you know, I could allow certain people to ride the horses. But Renske was very much, she would look after everybody, but there were only certain people that I could allow to take her for a canter or a gallop. And certainly Jill Poole came many, many times over the years. They had a wonderful relationship. They went to the beach, they went jumping. Amy Campbell was another one. She was so beautiful and relaxed with her, and you could see the difference in Renske's face. And this is where I learnt so much about the horses and what they were telling me by seeing how they reacted to different people. And it got to the point where on an experience day, very often I'd start the day with bringing a number of the Frisians into the arena so that people could see different types and how they move and their different conformation. And sometimes I'd have 2 or 3 people there, sometimes, very often, just one person. Renske would always choose the person that she was happy with, and if she didn't walk up to them during that sort of session in the arena, then I knew that she wasn't necessarily quite comfortable with them riding her. Equally, moving speedily on, because I am conscious that I've not only been talking for 5 minutes, I've been talking longer, haven't I, Lisa? She was the one who made me realise during the pandemic how much happier she was without having lots of different people coming and riding. And you know, she helped change my mindset, because I would just look into her eyes and she would tell me when she wasn't happy. And she was so happy during the pandemic because she just had me. So she had one set of instructions from one person, and we did loads of life hacks at the time. And for those of you who found us during the pandemic, you'll know all the life hacks that we did, and she did many of them. And that's pretty much what her life is now. You know, she's effectively semi-retired, but at 20 she's still happy to go out hacking. As you know, she did most of the live hacks during the last year. Then why did I stop? She had a little, did she go a little bit sore? I can't remember. There was a reason why I stopped the live hacks with her last year. Somebody will remember on here, but there were a few weeks where she wasn't able to do them. Yeah, I can't remember what it was. You see, that's the problem with being nearly 60, Ren. The memory's going.
Got a little question for you.
Yeah.
Inika, is that the right way of saying it? Inika?
Yeah.
She has a question about the names. Are the Frisians who are born outside the Netherlands still a Frisian name?
It's entirely up to the person who breeds them. So each year there's 3 letters. So one year it's A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, that you can name a foal to go in the stud book, and its name should start with one of those letters for that year. Some people will choose an English name. There's no set rule for it, but I've always taken the view, anyone that we've bred over here, because they are a horse of the Netherlands, that's their origin, and the stud book is operated by the people of Holland. For me, it's respectful to go with their tradition of giving the horses a Dutch or Fries name, which is why we've got an Inika and a Joukje and a Jolanda. So I hope that answers that.
We have Peggy.
Hi, Peg.
Just going back through comments,
Yeah.
there's a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Can anyone tell me what the numbers are at the end of each horse's name, please?
Stallions.
Oh, the stallions. So every approved breeding stallion is born with a different name, and when they get approved for breeding, the breeders, in liaison with the KFPS stud book, choose a new name for that horse, and they have a number put after their name. So, for example, Renske's father was Ucha 267, I can't remember his number, Ucha 267, whereas then you get Hidda's father was Jasper 366. So as the years go on, the numbers get higher. So I think we're in the 500s now. I think we are. I'm not as up to date, even though I've just been to the stallion show. So yeah, that's where the numbers come from. And interestingly, going back to what I was saying about the unpleasantness of the Frisian world, when I first got involved with Frisians, there was a certain person in this country who had a stallion who chose to put a number after its name to mislead people.
To make it out, yeah.
Anyway, yeah. Any other questions?
Sharon did ask, does Ren have any ailments now?
So, Ren, do you have any ailments, darling? I would say, and I've not had it x-rayed at all, but the problem, the ruffling that she had on her sesamoid, which is a little bone in the back leg, when she was 7, I would say that the way that she moves, she still moves in a way that she's found comfortable to...
Hello, Annie.
Look, we've got an Annie. Can we see Annie on the screen there?
Possibly not.
I'm lagging behind, but you should be able to.
Oh,
see
she's going to
now.
have a look.
Annie, darling, you can't move the camera. Yeah?
She says she wants it.
She's very jealous. Annie, it'll be your birthday soon, and then you can come in
Oh
here
yeah,
too.
we can see Annie.
Yeah. Oh, really? She's trying to steal your
Sweet
thunder.
Pea Jack asked, what is Premie Star?
So, I'll give you the full thing from a foal. When a foal goes for grading, they can get
Annie, leave the camera.
Annie, leave the camera. They can get a first, second, or third Premie. A Frisian can't be graded to go into the stud book until it's 3 years old. Now, there's more grading levels for the mares than there are the stallions and geldings. So, when they're graded to go in the stud book, they can be refused entry to the stud book if they are not considered of good enough quality in terms of their conformation and movement, if they have a conformation fault, or if they have any kind of lameness or ailment. They can get into the stud book. Annie, darling, let me. They can get into the stud book with without a Premie, and then they're called a stud book mare, or they can get in as a third Premie stud book mare, a second Premie, or a first Premie. If they get second or first Premie, am I boring you, darling? If they get second or first, Annie, that's really rude. That's really rude. Don't. If they get second or first Premie, then they're entitled, they get what's called the star status as well. The very best first Premie star mares can then be assessed for a further grading. So the very best first Premie star mares can then get the title of crown. They can be given the provisional crown title, and they can only get the crown title if they score 77 points or above in an EBOP performance test, or in what's called an ABFP test, which I won't go into now. When they've got crown, the very best crown mares can then be assessed for the model title, of which Anya is a model mare. To get that model title, there's certain criteria that there have to be, as well as the performance test. They also need to have proved that they can breed a foal naturally and bring that foal up. And they have to obviously be exceptional in their movement and their conformation. So Ren was never going to be at a point where she would be first Premie or considered crown or model, but I think she's a perfect example of how a Frisian doesn't have to be the highest graded horse to actually be a wonderful companion and a wonderful horse to have around. The grading doesn't necessarily make them really successful or anything more special than one that isn't graded so well. So I hope that answers that. For the stallions, they can either get star or not star, or they're either approved or they're not. So they don't have the same level of gradings. But that's because it's all aimed at grading the mares in a way that the idea is that a star graded mare is the type of mare that the stud book is saying, this is the stamp of horse we're trying to breed, so therefore this is the kind of horse that we want you to breed with, to try and keep the breed alive and keep improving the bloodlines. That was a very long answer to that question, as
and
usual.
You know what, Peggy said, it all seems very complex. Can't we just say they are all so beautiful?
They are
Which
all so
they
beautiful.
Are very...
And, but equally, they are all very beautiful, but I've always been a big fan of breeding responsibly. And there's far too many people, not naming names that I've not named several times, of people who breed for all the wrong reasons. And I'm not going to get onto a rant about it. You know, the stud book provide all this data about the qualities of different bloodlines, and yes, the highest graded horse isn't necessarily the best, but by using the data that's available that the stud book provide, you're giving yourself the best chance of producing a horse that has all the qualities that you're looking for. And you know, they're working on the health issues, and hopefully, you know, that will improve over time with the help of the Fenway Foundation. You know, this is why horses like Ren and the ones that live a long time, you know.
Not the power band.
Don't attempt it, darling. It's really rude. It's going to be your time soon. She'll come out and join you in a bed. So yeah, it is a very complex issue. They are all beautiful. You know, if I move on to Nero, Nero's not even bred out of approved stock. You know, he's not even registered with the stud book. His father wasn't an approved stallion. I don't think his mother was registered with the stud book. So, although he is pure Frisian, he's not a KFPS stud book registered Frisian. But that doesn't stop him from deserving a good life. So even though my personal preference is to breed in line with the stud book and support the breeders who breed that way, and they're not all healthy, you know, life happens, and you know, he's come to us for a reason. We'll give him the best that we can, and you know, he's as important as, I was going to say Anya, but she'll never forgive me. No, Annie, you're the most important. No, you're all the most important.
You can't say that.
I can't say that. You know, then. Oh look, that was Anya breathing a big sigh of relief. You're still Mummy's favourite, not favourite. Just don't be jealous of Ren.
Would you like to have a scroll?
Oh, shall I have a scroll? I didn't really need my piece of paper. Did I miss anything that I talked about? Oh yeah, actually, this is an important thing. Renske has always loved to live out. She doesn't like being in a stable, but she lets us know every now and again when she's tired and she wants to come in. Yeah, but most of the time she likes to move because she knows that's the best thing for her. Janie, Annie, camera doesn't taste as good as you might want it to. She'd probably disagree because she'd eat most things. Let's have a look. Oh, isn't it peaceful when I stop talking?
Well, it's just peaceful there anyway.
Oh, so nice. This is the best space, as well as Bessie's barn. We love Bessie's barn. It's your first time experiencing it.
Yeah,
since
I
it's been
watched it.
done.
Yeah, didn't I?
Yeah,
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 it's very nice.
it is. Oh yeah, Donna, you know all about Annie coming and gate crashing friendship barn sessions, don't you? Oh, hello everyone who I've not said hello to. Hello Sally, very much looking forward to your visit.
Oh, is it when I'm here, or is that when I miss that?
Are you still going to be here in June?
I'll probably be back by then.
Excellent. There you go, you get to meet Lisa as well. What do you think, Ren? What else have I not told people about you? No. She's done all sorts of things over the years, you know?
Beach jumping, stable stays.
Oh yeah, she did stable stays a couple of times. She wasn't a big fan of stable stays, I have to say. There was a lot of kicking the gate because she just wanted attention. And also because she doesn't like being confined. You know, she'd rather be out moving around, and she does like being with her friends. She wants out of here now, hence why she's nudging me. You can come out in a minute. Do you want Annie to come in and join you? She might call faces at you though.
She might tell you to go outside and switch.
But actually, Ren, I said it yesterday, actually, if you joined our live actual birthday celebration with her, you know, when Ren first came in here, she got a little bit stressy and she wasn't very happy and there was a lot of walking around. But as soon as she had her 18th birthday in here and she knew she was going to get lots of extra loving and attention, she's absolutely loved it ever since. So anybody coming to do the friendship barn, she really is a fabulous companion in here. And the best thing with her, because she's got that lovely J-Lo bum, don't knock my phone off, is, and of course you should never stand behind a horse's bottom, but she's got the best Frisian bottom to cuddle under the infrared. It's nice and warm in here, Lisa. Freya, are you cold or have you got your blanket?
I've got my coat as a blanket.
You're not your heated blanket.
No.
And of course you could have worn your weirdo hat. Actually, when it comes to Weirdo's birthday, are you going to do his?
I don't know, because the Weirdo and Nero share a birthday.
Oh.
So how are we going to do that? And Annie and Yo share a...
Oh, yeah, we're not putting Annie and Yo in here together.
That would be a bit scary.
No,
that would be a bit like a hidden appointment, I think.
You have to do one in the morning and one in the evening.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
I'll come back and help,
Yeah.
don't worry.
You want to do one? Yeah.
So I've got some notes, have you gone?
Oh, Ren. She just wants to stay in here for cuddles, really, don't you? Eh? But no, I mean, for 20 years old, she looks amazing. But, you know, she's always looked well. There was only one time in her life where she didn't look well. And that's when, and it's absolutely no reflection on the stud itself, because I sent Femma, her sister, there years ago, but she went down to Twenlows, a breeding stud. Of course it's going to be a breeding stud if it's a stud. It's getting late. And she went down there because we desperately wanted her to have a foal, and she really didn't enjoy her time down there. And it's the first time in her life when I went to pick her up, I thought, oh my goodness, you look shocking. Her coat was dull, her eyes had switched off, she just was thoroughly depressed. So I was very glad to get her back home, and then after that I never tried breeding with her again. You didn't like it then? And it's why I've always said, you know, some people will send their mares over to the Netherlands to breed, but, you know, for me, I did it with Annie, but Annie stayed with a very good friend of mine, Martina. I probably shouldn't have done it, but, you know, hindsight's a wonderful thing. You know, it was lovely. We had Annie's foal, Siska, for several years, but then lost her. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent now, as usual. What I will end by saying is that there's a very special video that is going to appear at midnight UK time on YouTube, as long as it's finished uploading. It's set to go live at midnight. It's a very special video to mark what would have been a very special 10th birthday for somebody tomorrow. So do look out for that. There's also another sort of vlog type video with just lots of random clips that will be coming out. So there's going to be plenty of footage to keep you all entertained over the next couple of days. There's so much going on here at the moment that it's really hard to keep up with it. And there's so much that I need to tell you about. But again, only so many hours in the day. Aren't there, Ren? So, I think, unless there's any other questions...
Yeah? Has Ren ever pulled carriage, hasn't she?
No, she hasn't actually. I did start the training process with her. Can't remember how many years ago. And we got to the point of putting the carriage behind her. But because she's a she's a very forward, sensitive mare, and she was such a brilliant riding horse, I thought, I actually don't want to put her through that, because I know that the noise would have unsettled her and she'd have got quite stressed with it. because she has so much movement, and then having that movement and a carriage behind. So I'm sure she would have driven, but it was just something that I chose not to follow with her, because she, you know, she did enough on the riding side. She didn't really need to do anything else. Any others?
I think
that's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. We're going to get Renske her jumper back on.
Raffle.
Oh no!
Raffle.
Oh my goodness!
Diane was just commenting Raffle question.
Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry. It's been a really long day.
And we do have
editing.
Wendy with us if she's still with us, but she just can't
Hi,
comment.
Wendy.
Oh.
I'm so sorry. Everybody who's bought tickets, do you want to give me my condition?
Right.
Thank goodness that
You
I've got
have,
these two in here.
Yes.
Tracy's phone.
I did say they need to keep me on track. That's the problem, there's far too much going on in the brain, I can't contain it all. Right, is that my one?
That's your
Thank you.
laptop.
Right, so I'm going to get random.org on here. I despair. Maybe it's because I've not eaten anything yet.
Sally says Tracy
just
needs
sleep.
her sleep.
Yeah, chance to be a
Right.
fine thing. Right, what do I want? Random.org. Let's got to get off the 60 tabs that I have open.
Right. Pages. Where's them?
Right.
Oh, right.
Ring. Are you going to press the button? Right.
Righty.
So I've got random.org. Frey has the spreadsheet. She's going to tell me
It's 1 to 40.
1 to 40. Renske, you're going to generate. Can you press that? Can you press
Go on,
that?
Ren, you can do it.
Okay. Number 26. Renske has chosen number 26.
Hey.
Number 26, Suzanne W.
Suzanne! Fantastic. Well done. Huge congratulations. And Renske's beautiful neck scarf is going to be winging its way to you in the next couple of days. It's one of the last things Wendy made before she went off for her op, and it's in her golden colours, so I'm sure you'll absolutely love it. Yes, please, in case I drop it, which is there's quite a high chance of that. Well, before I go on any more, am I safe to end it? Or have I forgotten anything else?
No, I think we're there, aren't we?
That's it. Oh, that's all the questions answered, and that's the raffle done.
Yeah.
So I think
And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Wasn't that so cool that we got to 9,000 subscribers? So we're going to try and aim for, what did we say, 10,000 by June?
I think by Valentine's Day.
Oh, Valentine's Day, that's a little optimistic. Lisa, you need to start doing lots of lives then.
Oh, okay.
Well, we
No.
have 52 people with us at the minute.
Well, welcome every 52 person, 52nd. I'm going to just stop talking now. Right, let's call it a day, and we'll see you on the next one, whenever that's going to be. Because you know us, we like to just do random lives every now and again. I might do a live with Nero in Bessie's barn soon, but I'm afraid I won't give you much warning.
We should do a live on a night out.
Oh,
Show them how we live.
Do you really?
Oh, come
yeah,
on. The
Lisa on a
trampoline.
night. Lisa on a night out. that's
How
great.
many views would we have got on the trampoline night?
Well, maybe you should
Yes,
do
that-
if
yes,
we
that's
hit
good.
something, then you'll do
Yes.
live while you're out.
Yeah.
Yes, the trampoline is still at the back, and I noticed all the springs back on it.
Are they?
So maybe we'll have to get it back. Okay.
On that
And it
note,
wasn't me.
yeah, it wasn't you. Yeah, I think it was Jodie,
I
wasn't
think it was Jodie,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Right, okay. Thank you everyone. Say good night and happy birthday again to the golden girl, Auntie Rensa. You've just put dribble in my mouth, that's disgusting. But I'll